Platchums.
Okay, so difficulty. What is difficulty?
What is
Is it
difficulty?
is it opening a really hard to open can of pickles or jar
Yeah,
of pickles or
how can you open that can of pickles?
yeah. With I don't think they sell cans of pickles actually. Bad analogy. But you know what I mean.
So you could
Pickles
say it's difficult to
difficulty.
find a can of pickles.
Yeah, but is there a skill in finding a can of pickles?
Is there, like, does it take a long time? Does it take a certain, like, set of skills? Are you told generally where the pickles are? Like, there's so much that goes into finding these tins of pickles that,
Yeah.
and some people might find them quicker than others, but does that mean that it's easier because they can do it quicker than someone else?
Yeah, and similarly, it's difficult sometimes to find a good analogy for things.
So
And
hard to find an analogy. Like,
yeah,
it's like when you go outside and then you go back inside. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
do. Yeah, I do. And that's it.
Platchums.
So yeah, today, as you can obviously tell,
Platchums analogy.
we're we're talking about the difficulty of a platinum. What makes a game
Yeah.
hard to platinum? What makes it easy? This is a conversation that that I've been kind of thinking quite a lot about recently because of this platinum difficulty challenge that Platinum Bros put together. It's made me think, what does difficulty mean?
What's the
What does
difference
it
between a
mean?
1 out of 10 and a 2 out of 10, really? It's
Yeah,
also arbitrary, isn't it?
you know,
Really?
we we've spoken about this before with our incredible system of Platchummies,
No, no, like, hey,
difficulty.
no. Hey, no. Platchums does not like belong in this conversation because that is a certified, like, bona
Yeah,
fide fantastic
yeah.
system that is so,
Okay.
like, legit.
I won't. Yeah, I
Oh,
won't go
but
in
go
there. I
along
won't go
with
there.
your analogy. We'll say it's an analogy.
Okay. um, well, I think yeah. One. What is a one? What is a two? What is a three? I think we sometimes can feel it. We can feel it in our bones, but how do we quantify it? And that's a discussion that I thought would be interesting to have.
Mm-hmm.
So, what one of the things that sparked this thought was time. Does time make something difficult? Because in general, I think people think no, it doesn't. So Persona 5 Royal is a long game, but it's not a hard game. Monster Hunter is a long game, not a hard game.
Red Dead
Um,
Redemption 2.
Red,
Or
and
the
see,
gold
yeah,
medal missions, okay, fair enough. But the lion's share of it is just the insane amount of collectibles and side missions.
mm, yeah, like in my opinion, I think difficulty is influenced by time. If you have to spend 100 hours at something, I think that there's an inherent difficulty in that. But then I think other people might disagree with that. Um, so what I was thinking was really the it's not difficulty when we look at a trophy guide. What we're looking at really is skill, and that's what that number sometimes represents rather than
Mm-hmm.
difficulty, because how skilled do you need to be out of 10 to get this platinum, for example. um, I think there's definitely an argument for time being a factor there, for difficulty overall, but I don't know, like when I look at the game and I see 100 hours, I think, wow, that's going to be difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's where what do you think?
I think time or the length definitely factors into difficulty, but like personally, because just by the nature of the time investment you need to put in, if there's a platinum that's two platinums, they're both rated 1 out of 10, but one takes 2 hours and the other takes 10, then you would say, like, objectively the 10-hour one is more difficult, even if
Hmm.
mechanically they'd be identical.
Yeah.
because it's more of a time investment. You need to put more time into that, and for some people that can be difficult. Like I can only speak for myself here, but games like, you know me, like I definitely take like a slower approach to games or platinums, say like, you know, Red Dead, or you know, even something like multifaceted like Max Payne 3, or you know, just The Division. I have trouble kind of playing one thing for that long.
Mm.
I need to kind of break it up, over like a Far Cry 2 actually being the best example. Like that took me 5 years, because like just with the boosting, like that was a simple, it was a simple procedure. Just we take turns killing each other. There was very little like conscious thought needed to go into it, but it was just the sheer factor of I still had to put the time in. And it is like it's almost like an abstract thing. It's like the philosophical platinum discussion right here, Jordan Platterson like. But it's I do think it is a factor, and like the only thing that you could then like kind of break it down a bit more into is, okay, well, for that 100 hours, say, is it mechanically a kind of simple game where you just run up the steps, or is it like a more skill based game? Because can you imagine, say, something with a skill ceiling like Vanquish, if it also took 100 hours? The hundred
Mm.
hours would automatically make it so much harder, because you need to keep that skill level up for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
So like, say with like Red Dead, you know, it's just so bulky. There is a skill element in the gold medals, but that's, say, like 1/4 of the platinum, because you could break that into like, you know, the gold medals, the online, the animals, and then the 100%. I think they're the
Mm.
four big kind of bookends of that game in terms of the platinum. But can
Yeah.
you imagine if like the gold medal was like 50%, but with the same time investment?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going mad here, just mental with the numbers and the examples, but I don't personally agree when people just outright dismiss the time factor in a platinum. Like I
Yeah.
do think like not everyone has the time, so you could then go, well, in another sense it's more difficult for them to like commit to a game like that, not for reasons outside of the game itself. Maybe we're getting too like meta with this, but like it is true. Some, you know, a lot of people work late, have families, you know, want to do other things, you know, have some other hobbies, and even if they, no matter how much they love getting platinums, I would say a good few people I know, as soon as they see that 100+ mark, they'll go, nah.
Yeah.
They might still play the game, but a lot of the trophy hunters I know would just be like, nah, I'm not even gonna bother, because I know I'm gonna want the platinum. I'm just gonna get pissed off. Like, don't have the time to get it.
Yeah.
Um, does that any of
Yeah.
that make sense?
But yeah, no, it rings true with me, especially like as someone who loves JRPGs. And, I think a lot of the difficulty, JRPGs are often just seen as like, they're just long games. They're not hard games. So
They're
the platinums are
repetitive.
quite dismissive. People can be dismissive about the platinums sometimes for those. Not that it matters if they if they're dismissive or not, make it sound like I'm really personally offended. But you know what I mean? Like it's someone that look at like the platinum for like Final
No, no,
Fantasy
like these are
10 or
discussions
something.
that have, you know, been around since the dawn of trophies. You know, back on
Yeah,
PS3trophies.com. You know, back in the day,
yeah,
like these conversations aren't new. Like really, like it's been something that like a lot of people, as you said, you know, you can kind of feel a 3 out of 5 or a 7 out of 10. Like there's some reason why people gravitate towards those numbers. It's
yeah,
simplicity, and I guess kind of group thought that, you know, okay, everyone agrees that this is good. Okay, well then I'm going to jump in.
yeah.
Um, but time is something that like the element of it towards the platinum is something that no one's come to consensus to really, or consensus with, in
Mm,
my eyes. That like, yeah, even just like this, like in a guide, it says, oh, it takes 120 hours. Someone says, well, I did it in 70, or I did it in 90, or I did it in like, it took me 200 and stuff.
yeah,
It's so individual, but I think ultimately, like for me personally, a lot of time does mean that it's difficult. Like, even a simple game is going to take me 200 hours. I find that challenging.
Yeah.
Maybe not for skill reasons, as you said, but just for like just endurance reasons, and like the fact that a 200-hour game, I mean, you could play 4 or 5 other games in that space of time, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's like a mental kind of challenge to like will yourself. Or what I normally do is like, as I said, I know I never really push through that. To be fair, it's like if I don't want to play, I don't want to play, and I'll come
Mm.
back to it when I kind of feel the urge.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's like sometimes those boosting sessions, or doing the same repetitive thing, or just playing the same game, especially if there was a lot to keep an eye on for, and like all that. Like it is, I don't know. I think it is challenging. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I
like
do.
what about you?
Yeah. I have a bit of a, I don't know. I'm kind of very conflicted about the difficulty in games, because you know I, especially after doing this challenge, where I've say Dead Space 2 is supposedly a 9 out of 10 difficulty, and to me, obviously, I would say I think I got the platinum for that in like 4 hours, or sorry, in 4 days. But that's not a flex. It's not
Damn.
a. I'm not flexing, saying like, wow, I got a 9 out of 10 plat in like 4 days or whatever. I just, I just objectively don't think that is a 9 out of 10 when there are games that are out there.
Well, but it's
So,
funny you mentioned Dead Space 2, so you don't think it was a 9 out of 10. Like, I don't think it's a 9 out of 10 either, but I always just remember, like, when I was playing that game and you were watching me, in the hardcore run.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember, you were over one night. I was trying to like delay the second save until I think you're like, no, make it to like chapter 9. I remember
Yeah,
I just started running, and you're like,
yeah,
what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. What are you? Stop running. And I'm like, I just completely panicked, and I just always remember your face, because you're just like such a sensei, because it was like I ran and obviously I died, and I was like, oh fuck, it's like I'm really annoyed. And then you just like turned really calmly and were like, you panicked, didn't you?
yeah. That sounds like me, I suppose. I don't know. I think I remember playing that with you, because I think I'd like just literally finished it, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of mapped out exactly where the best saves were. I think I can like it's like chapter 7. I think you can like hold off to like chapter
The
7
first
for your
save,
first
chapter
one or
7,
something.
and then there was like
Yeah,
chapter 9 or 10, I think.
yeah. It's like getting over like the big humps, and then I think there's some bits like there's some auto kill bits, or there's like QTE things and stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can
yeah.
get you. But my point really is that when we've got a scale of 1 to 10, and I'm perfectly happy with that, and I'm also all for kind of the democratizing of difficulty. I think that everyone, like, the way we should figure out what difficulty a game is based on kind of group consensus. I do agree.
It's the
I
best
just
way to
think
get the
that,
like average, in
yeah,
fairness.
and I think usually it's pretty accurate. It's just I think that sometimes, like, the system the system needs to take into consideration what is there, and so, like, say for example, a 10 out of 10 is clearly Crypto the Necrodancer, for example. Or are we saying that is so even beyond like what a 10 out of 10 is, for example?
It almost
Because,
breaks the scale.
yeah, that's what I mean. There's games that are just so incredibly difficult. Like, I would say Super Meat Boy. You know, what else is there that notoriously
This,
difficult?
um,
They're like, it'd be Crypt and Super Meat Boy that kind of really, maybe Lost Planet 2. Um,
yeah, shit. Lost
Maybe like Elder Scrolls Online.
online. Yeah,
Yeah, like, there's games like that are just that ask so much of someone that nearly they shouldn't even be considered in the scale, because if they are considered in the scale, well, then Dead Space 2, that can be finished in 4 days, is just clearly not a 9 out of 10 if the next notch on the scale is
maybe it
Crypto
should
the
be like the Richter
Necrodancer.
scale. Where each
Yeah.
subsequent numbers is like,
Multiple of it, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's our thesis for the video, is that we want to implement the Richter scale for
Yeah,
difficulty for
yeah. We want
platinums.
to transfer the Richter scale into the platinum scale.
Yeah,
And they're also like kind of they're compatible with Platchums, because again, you're not going to throw
yeah.
out a very like a valid currency, when it's that just
No, no.
legit. Like,
It's like don't decibels work like that as well? It's like, one extra decibel doesn't mean like one extra loudness. It means like a multiple of
Yeah,
loudness
yeah.
extra or something.
On a decibel scale, the quietest audible sound, perceived near total silence, is 0 dB. A sound 10 times more powerful is 10 dB. A sound 100 times more powerful than near total silence is 20 dB. A sound 1,000 times more powerful than near total silence is 30 dB, 40 dB, and so on. Don't say you never learned anything from the old Platchums.
Yeah,
So that's,
exactly.
yeah, we're getting into science, and
This is a science, damn it.
this
There is
is
a science to trophy hunting. I feel like we're Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, like sitting in the caravan. But instead of like cooking meth for platinum games, yo, platinum bitch. But
yeah, I think in general, like difficulty is subjective, of course. It's always going to be. So I think getting kind of the group consensus on difficulty is the most important thing. But yeah, maybe there are some games that are just so ridiculously difficult that they even go beyond what a 10 out of 10 is.
So our consensus is that we don't know. We don't know for me, the pillars of difficulty are these. Okay, the skill, the online component, because online is it's a whole other thing than single player. I do think that that's like a +1. If we're upgrading the suit of armor of difficulty, that's a +1 or -1 in terms of weakness. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think time for me does factor into it, and I think multiple playthroughs on different difficulties, like those are kind of
stack.
Like like that's the worst ever when they don't stack.
When they don't stack, yeah.
This is dirty.
It's like the really like early era PS3 trophy lists.
Classic.
Oh yeah, that
is the worst example of that. Call of Duty Classic. I just didn't have the will. It was just, oh my god.
Yeah, no, there's a few games like that where they I don't think Dead Space Extraction stacks either, actually.
No, it doesn't.
God.
They're like, shit, we just made a terrible game. Okay, make the trophies non-stackable. That will force them to play it multiple times. That'll look good, because they're getting like the log sent to Sony going, oh, people are playing Dead Space Extraction for a very long time.
yeah. Like, to me, so you've got your pillars there of time, online, and multiple playthroughs. Any other pillars?
Time, online, multiple playthroughs, and I even forget my own system. I should probably just like edit in what I said. What was it? God damn it.
I would put a pillar for no death runs. I think that they automatically make things extremely difficult.
Dead Space hardcore mode, limited save / no deaths.
Limited saves, yeah. Like that would be like when I see something like that, I think, wow, that's tough. Or like a perfect thing, like saying like Fury, where you have to, or like Metal Gear, Revengeance, where you have to like get through all the bosses without getting hit. Things like that are very stressful to me, and I find they amplify difficulty massively.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair pillar, like the Mount Rushmore of platinum.
Yeah, like, and I'll use the Atari collection as an example of a game that's 10 out of 10, where you can save exploit, and like if you're willing, you could save exploit. You could pause the game after getting like one extra point, and then upload your save, download the save, go in. If you get killed after getting 1 point, download the save again, get 2 points, upload your save. You could do it like in such tiny increments if you really want to, because
like so much
it could
work.
but it completely trivializes the skill necessary then when you've got something like that. So an exploit to me completely strips a game of difficulty, I would say.
Well, I guess purists would say, well, don't use the exploit, or it wasn't designed.
Yeah, but way. It's like Hollow Knight. When you look at the Hollow Knight plat, and it's like 10%, or the Cuphead platinum that I don't think is even ultra rare. because of exploits, it's like, sure, yeah, you don't want to use them or whatever, but it's either
When you
use the
know that they're
exploit
there.
yeah, if everyone else has done it, sure. If everyone else jumps off a bridge, I'm jumping.
Well, I remember in one of Guy Fruski's latest videos, he was talking about he was saying goodbye to his PS3, and he was saying that in GTA 5, like, just a hacker came and just gave him like all the dollars, like all the like Rockstar like experience and stuff. So he literally like just got to level 100. I think he was like, I don't know if he was already at 50 or so, and it like
Yeah.
got him the way to like 100. And he was just like, look, the amount of time I saved. And he just said, and I agree with him, it's like, if a hacker just comes to you and was like, here, like, trying to get to level 100, just do it.
Yeah. Well, like, it's ultimately, when you think about that, like, there's I think trophy hunters are especially guilty of picking and choosing what they want to sometimes be upset about. And like, if there is an exploit that allows you to go into GTA and drive against a wall and get XP and then level up to 100 in like 20 minutes, that's fine because it's like included in the game. But then if there was like, if a hacker came and gave you and auto pop some trophies for you, then that'd be, your account is now completely sullied and you're knocked off the leaderboards. I've seen people get burned in things like GTA 4, Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3, I can't remember. I know that there's like hack lobbies, and if you accidentally get like given trophies, your account can be like can be flagged as a cheated account then from that point on. But like, I think people are quick to use cheats when it's like deemed okay, and so I've been doing this a lot.
Yeah, you really have. The whole video. I'm just gonna make like a montage of all the time. Well,
we haven't done it. Yeah, like
the
Joey
hunting community.
Yeah,
I can just imagine like you'll go to bed and it's like your eyes like, good night.
Yeah, no, yeah, like sometimes you can see kind of selective outrage at certain things.
That's just the way of people, though, isn't it, man? Like, I know that's like, we're getting very deep here, but I mean, like, it's some companies get a pass on per practices. Like, everyone kind of forgot, the sorry state the old Witcher games were in with CD Project Red, because The Witcher 3, like, eventually became remarkable, but like, they really blew their wad on the launch of like pretty much every single one of their games. So in a way, it's like with Cyberpunk 2077.
Blew their wad.
Yeah. Blew their.
Yeah.
Is that,
no, you're completely right.
Are we becoming pretentious internet personalities? Just air quote
completely
everything.
Right. No, you're completely right. Like, it's
but it's like, historically they're just kind of doing what they've always done. But there was like, it now, in fairness though, to get like a symbol saying recommend to not play on a PS4, and it's on a PS4 game, like that it is a remarkable example. But
yeah,
I mean, there was evidence that it could go that bad, because at least they could claw it back. But with Cyberpunk, it was in such a state. But anyway, I don't know why I'm even talking about Cyberpunk. I actually forgot it existed until it popped into my head there.
Me too. Yeah.
But yeah, look, difficulty is always going to be subjective. It's always going to be there's just so many variables with it. I think, as you said, the general kind of voting system out of 10, it's like, for me, 5 out of 5 makes more sense. But I guess people, like, sometimes they have the little in between areas. As I said, what's the difference between a 2 and a 3? But we all kind of get it.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better system off the top of my head. And like ultimately, I do think time should be. I think that is one. I agree with you. I think it is kind of like brushed aside, where it's like, oh yeah, but it's easy. It's like, yeah, but it takes 500 hours.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter again. I'll bring that up. Is a game that I've just given up on because I'm not willing to put in 400 hours to get the next 3 trophies, for example.
400.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people have said I think the range of platinum time is like 100 hours to 700 hours for Monster Hunter based on how RNG heavy it is.
Oof.
Like, and it's, I suppose actually Demon Souls is another good example because Demon Souls on PS5 is a 7 out of 10, but the Demon Souls on PS3 is a 8 out of 10. And I think largely that just comes down to the trophies and what they ask of you, because you have to do like all the weapons in the PS3 version, you don't in the PS4. And there's a lot of grinding and RNG in regards. Like, that isn't any more skill, it's just more time. And that's viewed as a more difficult platinum. So sometimes maybe people... and the Walking Dead collection, where you have all the games together, is definitely a harder platinum than one of the games on its own, for example, as well. Yeah. I have no idea what we're talking about at this point.
I don't know. I kind of blacked out for a while. So look, we'll flip it on to you, the viewers, if you're even still watching this, because I feel like it's like a talk two men would have in the pub at like 1:30 when everyone else is starting to go home.
We're pretty like unstructured usually, but this is a different level.
I think we've lost our mind.
Yeah, maybe I think we needed a longer break or maybe a shorter break. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we're completely out this way. We just completely lost our marbles. But anyway, Dan, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, to the viewers, what do you think? What do you think makes a platinum difficult? Do you think that time is a massive factor in difficulty, or do you think that it doesn't really matter if it's a simple procedure? It doesn't matter if you have to do it for 5 hours or 10 hours. It's irrelevant. It's the same action. Let us know in the comments. Dan, I'll see you in the next video. And I feel like I'm not going to end this one on a high five. I'm going to end this one on a Platchums. So, 3, 2, 1. Platchums.
Platchums.